Good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. This is Kevin Moon from God's Country. It's time for your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's weather. Now, here's my friend, Dr. Don.
Good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. Welcome to your Monday. Time now for your primetime forecast for Monday, September 26th, 2022. Coming up in this morning's edition of your primetime forecast, we're going to tell you all about Hurricane Ian, which has now developed down in the Caribbean and could affect our weather forecast toward the end of the week. Also, we have a cold front that passed through yesterday, and we have some fine fall weather on the way for you across East Alabama and West Georgia. This morning's forecast from the Alpha Weather Center. Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent. Be sure and click that link at the top of this video to get a cost-free, no-obligation insurance quote so that you can become eligible to win some great prizes from Dr. Don's Weather. And Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent. Don't forget about Fall on Main Street in downtown Roanoke. That is coming up this Saturday. Yes, there are some weather concerns, but at the moment, it looks like Hurricane Ian will stay far enough to the east where we could expect minimal effects across East Alabama and West Georgia. So for now, my suggestion is to continue with plans for the 14th annual Fall on Main Street Festival in downtown Roanoke. Starts at 8:30 on Saturday morning. And again, at the moment, the Dr. Don Roadshow is planning on being there. It all depends on the exact track of Ian and if we expect to have any effects up here in northeast Georgia. If so, then I may have to bow out. But at the moment, I would continue with plans, and we are continuing with our plans. We'll see how the forecast evolves as we go throughout the week. Let's talk about some tropical weather. First of all, don't forget to head over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. Click that little bell so that when we go live this week to give you updates on Hurricane Ian, you'll be guaranteed to get those push notifications. Well, here's the deal. As of 5 a.m. this morning, we now have a hurricane located at 18.2 north, 82.5 west. Maximum sustained winds are currently at 75 miles per hour. Movement is to the northwest at 14 miles per hour. We expect Ian to continue on this course over the next couple of days. It will reach the western tip of Cuba by about 2 a.m. tomorrow morning and then emerge in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico by 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon and increase into a major hurricane. We expect Ian to make it to Category 4. And then as Ian approaches the Big Bend area of Florida, or maybe just a little bit east of the Big Bend area of Florida, we'll start to see Ian decrease in strength and intensity as it will encounter some hostile weather conditions there with wind shear. And the environment just won't be as conducive as Ian approaches landfall, which will happen somewhere around 2 a.m. Friday morning north of Tampa, maybe a little bit to the south and southeast of Tallahassee. And we think that Ian will make landfall as a Category 1 hurricane and then continue on off to the north to a position to the south and east of Macon, Georgia, by about 2 a.m. Saturday morning. Now, here's the deal, folks. You always want to be on the west or left-hand side of a hurricane because that's where the least amount of weather will take place. Where you don't want to be is on the right-hand side of the storm. And so with this particular track, if the storm continues to the north and ends up there just southwest of Macon, that would leave East Alabama and West Georgia on the west side of the storm. Now, we can certainly have some weather on the west side of the storm, but again, that's the weakest side of the storm historically. But you'll notice that East Alabama and West Georgia is still in that cone of uncertainty. That area that you see that has all the little bitty white dots outlined by that thick white area, is the margin of error, meaning that this is a weather forecast for Ian, but once the storm makes landfall, anytime past that point, the storm could track anywhere within that area of uncertainty. And right now, it's rather large. We're talking anywhere from the North Carolina, South Carolina state line all the way back to Montgomery, Alabama. So there's a large area there for this cone of uncertainty. And the main reason why the Hurricane Center is not as confident in the future track is because we have that trough that moved through East Alabama yesterday, and it's going to hang out down there around the Georgia, Florida, Alabama state line, and that is going to influence, along with high pressure that is formed out in the Atlantic, that will influence the future track of Hurricane Ian. Now, it'll be a tropical storm by the time it gets that far inland. But if high pressure is stronger than anticipated, the storm could shift a little bit further back to the west. If it's weaker than anticipated, it could shift further back to the east. And I'll tell you, over the past 24 to 48 hours, the trend has been to push the storm a little further to the east with each update. That is good news for East Alabama and West Georgia. So you can see that we still have a lot in play here, and it could make a huge difference on whether or not you just get some breezy, cloudy skies in Roanoke, Alabama, or whether you get potentially some tropical storm force winds, heavy rainfall, and even the potential of some tornadoes. Now, the tornado severe weather threat is almost always to the right of the center of the storm. So, again, with this current forecast, it's probably a best-case scenario for East Alabama and West Georgia in that we would not anticipate any severe weather with this current track. We're going to be following this for you as we head throughout the next several days, and we'll update you as conditions warrant with Hurricane Ian now down in the Caribbean. One other thing I do want to show you before we leave the tropical frame this morning, and that is going to be the latest spaghetti models. And you can see here that this time yesterday we had those tracks right across East Alabama. They have shifted off to the east now. So the far left-hand side brings it up around Lake Seminole and then curves back over Atlanta. And then the far right scenario takes it in south of Tampa. And I got to tell you, that particular model, which is the UK, has that's their story, and they have stuck to it from day one. So you gotta buy into that one just a little bit. But the National Hurricane Center official track is kind of splitting the difference, bringing in up there north of Tampa, then to near Tifton, Georgia, and up to a point just to the southeast of Macon, Georgia, by early Saturday morning. So that's the track that we're going to go with right now. And again, like I said, we're going to watch this for you, though, and update you as needed. Current conditions at the East Alabama Bee Company, 64 degrees, high temperature 82. We have partly cloudy skies, maybe a little fog out there. Wind out of the west-southwest at 1, gusting to 3. Humidity is 96%. The barometric pressure is at 29.93. No official rainfall in the past 24 hours, though there were a few sprinkles around yesterday. Sunrise this morning at 6:31. Sunsets this evening at 6:34 p.m. Headed for 81 this afternoon in Roanoke, 79 over in Ashland. Lineville will hit 80. We expect 80 in Wedowee, Woodland, 79 up in Ranburne, 78 in Carrollton, and Sylacauga will top out this afternoon at 82 degrees. Going to be a beautiful day, and tomorrow's going to be even better. Here's your 6-day forecast from the Alpha Weather Center. Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent. Again, we could start the day with a little fog out there this morning, but that burns off by about 8 a.m. We go full-blown sunshine. The rest of today, 81. How about 75 on Tuesday with sunshine? Mostly sunny on Wednesday, 74 by the time Thursday gets here. Webster says 72 is perfect, so that's awfully close. On Thursday, I think clouds will start to increase Thursday afternoon. And then Thursday night into Friday night and Saturday, we're showing a chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm on Friday and Saturday. The rain chances right now standing at about 40%. Again, depending on the eventual track of Ian, those rain chance numbers could go up considerably, or they could drop considerably, depending on what we end up seeing from the hurricane as it makes landfall and continues on off to the north or potentially northeast. Again, this is a fluid forecast situation, and things could change rapidly, so we advise that you stay weather aware as we head through the next several days. Here's the Southern Union State Community College live Doppler HD radar showing you Ian down in the Caribbean. And again, you see we expect Ian to go to Category 2 pretty quick. Should be Category 3 as it makes landfall on the western tip of Cuba. And then once it emerges back out into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, we expect Category 4. Which is pretty strong, and will maintain that until we see the storm get about 200 miles south of the Florida Peninsula. Then we expect it to encounter some not so conducive weather conditions, and we'll start to see it weaken down to Category 1 at landfall. So what does that mean for places like Tallahassee, Jacksonville, South Georgia? We're talking tropical storm by the time it gets up into south and southeast Georgia. We're talking wind gust of 35, 40 miles per hour. There certainly will be, or most likely will be, a tornado threat to the right of the track. So that would mean places like Brunswick, St. Mary's, Brunswick, on up to Darien, maybe Jekyll Island, St. Simons, Savannah, all will have a tornado threat. To the left or west of the track, if this is correct, maybe some gusty winds and some rain along the I-75 corridor, maybe as far west as the Alabama-Georgia state line. And if the storm continues tracking north on this trajectory, that would be the same thing for East Alabama and West Georgia. Maybe some gusty winds of 20 to 25 miles per hour, occasional rain showers, but the severe threat should be very minimal, if at all, across East Alabama and West Georgia, as long as we hang on to this particular track for this storm. We take you in a little bit closer on Alabama and Georgia. You can see we do have a thunderstorm complex there just north of Mobile, moving off to the southeast. That's that cold front that moved through yesterday, and that will help influence the track of the storm. Again, high pressure out in the Atlantic probably will play a bigger part in the eventual track of Ian. But as you can see, nothing to worry about this morning across East Alabama or West Georgia. Maybe a few high-level clouds. It looks like we may see a little sprinkle down there around Lafayette this morning, but that'll go away pretty quick, and we should go back to mostly clear skies by about 8 a.m. this morning. Be sure you follow us over on Twitter at DSTREN1040. We broadcast all of our weather information on Twitter, just as we do on Facebook, YouTube, and at DrDonWX.com, where you can help support us by clicking on that donate button. If you're on Facebook, we'd love to get those Facebook stars. Don't forget to get my daily weather forecast on God's Country 90.9 FM and the classic, East Alabama's classic rock giant at 89.7. If you'd like to be a partner with us here on Dr. Don's Weather, all you have to do is send me a message on Messenger. I can have you started by the time we do our next weather forecast, which, if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, we'll do it first thing tomorrow morning right here on Dr. Don's Weather.